Mr. Speaker, it is extremely wrong.
I have used the word very advisedly, alleged.
I also have many allegations about everybody else. So if it's about allegations, I think we can also come up with allegations. But
I advise you not to lose your cool. Just answer questions.
It's about my integrity.
The way they are asked.
We also have allegations, if it's about allegations.
If you lose your cool, you will be unable to answer the next questions.
I have faced worse situations, but I just wanted to say I have my conscience, right? I can never do that. The unfortunate thing, including at the Senate is politicians who are there. And the people who are sponsoring it today, I think let's also be fair. You can't call a governor to come and answer to allegations put by their opponent who have intentions to go to an elective position, and then use that allegation later against him. If there are people, this country has the best intelligence in the region. We have never said even one name. The Honorable Dawood has mentioned street children were rounded, taken somewhere. I think it is good to say that even if they are street children...
It was alleged.
Alleged.
You remember, Lee?
Yes, it was.
That in an attempt to make Nakuru attractive and make it a city, you picked street children, some street families, put them on the trucks, and went and dumped them in Embobut Forest.
Mr. Speaker.
I'm saying, let me finish. Because you remember this matter came up in the Senate?
Yes.
And Embobut Forest was said to be infested with hyenas and other dangerous wild animals, and some of those children were never found.
Mr. Speaker, it is extremely wrong.
I have used the word very advisedly, alleged.
I also have many allegations about everybody else. So if it's about allegations, I think we can also come up with allegations. But
I advise you not to lose your cool. Just answer questions.
It's about my integrity.
The way they are asked.
We also have allegations, if it's about allegations.
Just answer questions the way they're asked. That's what Dawood asked. And I was making it clear to you because you remember this matter was in the House of Senate for quite some time. So go ahead and answer. If it is not true, even no is an answer.
Even me, I said alleged. I didn't say he has done it.
If you lose your cool, you will be unable to answer the next questions.
I have faced worse situations, but I just wanted to say I have my conscience, right? I can never do that. And the unfortunate thing, including at the Senate is politicians who are there. And the people who are sponsoring it today, I think let's also be fair. You can't call a governor to come and answer to allegations put by their opponent who have intentions to go to an elective position, and then use that allegation later against him. If there are people, this country has the best intelligence in the region. We have never said even one name. So I think let us also respect the institutions we work for. And I would say for Kenya and for posterity, the opportunity to serve in these institutions should not be personalized for gain. Because I was there, Mr. Speaker, throughout that period. How come only those people are known by politicians? Which family has ever come out? So I think it's good to be fair and also respect the positions we have. So in short, Bwana Dawood, that is an act of fiction.
Bwana Chairman, I don't have any interest in Nakuru. So I'm not a politician from Nakuru. It is alleged, that's what I said. We wanted a clarification. Governor should not feel offended.
Don't apologize. Lee, an opportunity like this is very good for you to clear some of those things, not to feel slighted, because nobody is slighting you. You are being asked questions in good faith.
Well taken, Speaker.
Yes, Ferdinand?
He has not finished.
No, he has finished.
Mr. Speaker, there was a secondary question.
Yes.
Chairman.
Yes.
There was a secondary question
from Dawood.
From Dawood. With respect to local investors feeling slighted, and sometimes when you talk about investment, we are largely perceived to be talking about foreign investors. And I think I want to identify with that. There was a situation where some local investors were looking for an appointment with an office, a big office in government, in the county governments, and they kept on looking for that appointment for 6 months until one day they changed and said they are from another country. They got the appointment the following day. So I think we must agree. The first investors must be you and I, the people who live here in Kenya. And even if the foreigners are to come here, they will make a call to those who are already here. So good referrals mean everything. So Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, I want to agree with Dawood that a lot must be done to encourage local investment. And maybe while still on the issue of local investment, allow me to say that there's a marked difference between the attitude of Kenyans about Kenya and the attitude of foreigners about Kenya. And I think this speaks a lot to what he's saying. If you look at the investments that have happened in the country in the last 3-4 years, from GTC here in Nairobi to other major foreign direct investments coming here, it is huge, and it is a testament of the confidence in largely the country and the region, for that matter. But sometimes Kenyans are also caught up in a web of negativity. So foreigners will see what we can't see. So we need to come up together. The jobs that are being created are for us. And if the owners of the country think different from foreigners, then before long, they will come and invest everything and we'll have nowhere to go because of our attitude. So one of the areas I wish to engage in, further to what the Honorable Dawood has said, is to also engage in the attitudes. And maybe also to request Kenyans, when you're looking at your country, don't look at it in the lenses of your politicians. This is your country. You can change your MP, you can change your MCA.
Point of order, Honorable Chairman. Honorable Chairman, this word of politicians has been repeated severally. And for us, we are leaders and we are also politicians. So does it mean that if somebody is a politician, cannot give any views or ask questions, and whether he does it, it is wrong or it is witch hunting? We need some elaboration on that.
Well, proceed on the basis that a politician is not necessarily an irrational person. Irrational people are found everywhere, even out, and you are a politician too.
Yeah.
We were with you in the House. You became governor. Take it in that stride. That avoid unhelpful mentioning of politician. Just answer questions.
Mr. Chairman, maybe I can withdraw the term politician, but I meant that, you know, Kenya, if everybody out there sees the good of Kenya and the best of Kenya, let me not allow myself, if somebody has a different view, to change me. I think that's all I'm trying to say. And this is our country.
Ferdinand?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the presentation. Now,
then give it to Morgana so that you continue enjoying.
No, let me get to specifically what I want him to answer. I think this challenge facing
traders have closed down. I would really like to hear from him what he's going to do so that we can bring those young people back to their businesses. The other question, in your view, what are the challenges that negatively affect the growth of exports, and what should be done to improve the visibility of Kenyan export in international market? Thank you.
Yes, Lee, you can answer those.
Thank you, Chairman. Allow me to start with the last question by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Nyeri. The issue of small-scale business people, I think, is a huge concern, both in Nyamakema and across all our urban areas. And I think, as I mentioned there earlier, the issue of cash squeeze, where a lot of suppliers have not been paid by government, affects the cash in circulation. And because most of them sell consumables or, you know, those things you buy on the go, then it means when people do not have money, then that affects. So one of the areas I hope to be working together with the cabinet and the cabinet together with the CS for finance is to be the champion for paying all suppliers in government. If that money was to hit the accounts of the suppliers, there will be an immediate party in all these places we are talking about. People who are about to face foreclosure will be saved. So, and when the money is in circulation, there's more trade, there's more tax, everybody benefits. So I think we need to agree that again, the other issue is for banks, because it is very lucrative to put their money in treasury bills and treasury bonds. They don't want to lend to the small people. So again, there's no money in circulation. So let's agree that the small business people are suffering from the cash squeeze that is currently there. And everything must be done, even also by this house, to help us unlock that challenge so that we can give hope. On the issue of funding, I would strongly recommend that we need to find a sustainable way of funding our small businesses, although it is also not right to call them small. People tend to live up to the titles they are given. So I think we need to find a better way of calling them, because it's like confining them to the smallness in which they are. But in short, government must come up with a way, or even if it means the commercial banks must set aside a certain percentage of their money for a certain category of industries and so on, that can help us avail cash flow to the businesses. And the Honorable Member has also asked about growth of export and the hindrance. I think our first biggest export is tea, and I think we've been doing fairly well in spite of the current challenges, but more importantly also in the area of horticulture and flowers. And I think the biggest challenge you're having there is the availability of air freight, because most of these fresh produce would require to go by air to Europe, to the Middle East and other places. So the constraints within the national carrier and other cargo airlines from Nairobi to all these destinations means that we cannot be able to expand that area. And therefore, I will be seeking to work with the Minister, the CS for Transport, to see how we can expand our cargo handling capacity, because that's an area that can grow within a very short time. Mr. Chair, allow me also to mention on the issue of the European Union Economic Partnership. I think one of our biggest destinations is actually the Netherlands, where we take our flowers and to the UK for vegetables and others. And again, the issue of there being good agreements that protect us, and secondly, the air freight, the cargo, that will help us to unlock. And also maybe giving specific funding to these sectors so that we can increase. We have a lot of land, we have many people who are willing to invest, but because of the heavy capital required, sometimes it has not been very easy for many to venture in. On AGOA, we are at the final end of the AGOA agreement, and once it collapses, many of the industries, including the textile industries, that heavily rely on the AGOA would be at risk. We are hoping to be able to conclude once there's a change of government, but there's talk of an extension of 1 year as we negotiate the next agreement. But I think the bigger request, Mr. Chairman, would be when these negotiations are happening, they have very huge implications, even 10, 20, 30 years from now. Maybe our teams need to be the best sharpshooters you could ever think of, because those small little commas mean a lot. And when a small country like Kenya is negotiating with the US, which is of 1,000 times its economy, we need to also be careful, because if we open all the doors, our industries are all going to shut. So I think there's a need to have a very strategic team to ensure that these negotiations are done and that national interests prevail at all stages. There was also the question of the Salai Dam and whether there was criminal negligence. Allow me, Mr. Chair, to say that indeed there was a tragedy in Nakuru. That was barely 2 months after I got into office. I got into office around, I don't remember whether it's 2 months, but it was a very short period of time. There's nothing much I would have done. I had barely settled, and this tragedy now comes. But out of that tragedy, a lot we have learned, including a disaster mitigation strategy for the county. Nakuru is home to much of the export we are talking about. So there are very many dams all over Nakuru. And whenever it rains, and maybe there's excess rain, the issue of monitoring of water levels and also warning signals, early warning signals to families down would be there. The issue of insurance also is important, so that whenever there is a financial loss, we can also help those families. But Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, Allow me to say also this matter went to court, and they settled out of court on their own volition between the victims and the owner, and for now they are happily working together, and the farm employs over 1,000 people. Without that farm, that whole community would not survive. So they have a good working engagement, but the safety precautions must be upheld at all times.
Was the dam reconstructed?
Yes, it was reconstructed, Mr. Chairman, under the supervision of NEMA and other regulatory agencies, both from the county and the national government.
Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, just a follow-up question on what is said, that we are doing very well on export, especially tea. We want to hear him as if he's approved as a trade minister. There has been challenging of our export for tea lying in the port of Mombasa. What probably, if you have any recollection or you have been briefed, you'll do better and different than what has been done to make sure that the tea farmers in this country cannot continue waiting for their tea to be sold to get the benefit of the sale without any further delay, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wish to say that I do not have the full information regarding the current state of
you
the
actually
stock.
said tea exports are good, but there are challenges.
Yes.
Yes.
So it is our best export for now, but it is experiencing challenges. But I want to confirm that our best run crop in Kenya is actually tea. The farmers can deliver their tea, go home, get their money at the end of the month, and get a bonus. So the challenge we are having right now, I think, will be sorted, and I want to say that will be my first agenda. But beyond that, even though Kenya is a key producer of tea, if you go to the Western world and say you want Kenyan tea, you won't find it anywhere. So it is blended and lost in the world flavors. Yet it is the best. So that which we are best for, nobody can go to the capitals of the world and say, I want Kenyan tea. So again, it's a challenge to us. I mean, today it is possible for me to open a shop in New York, another person to open in Amsterdam. We create this network so that we don't over-rely on the auction in Mombasa. Over-reliance on only one source of selling will create challenges in future. So we need to look for multiple options of selling, including direct sales in UAE and many other places. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No,
Allow.
you've not answered about milk export to the Middle East. Oh, you are silly. You are silly.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, we have talked about, the Honorable Robert talked about companies closing and what we need to do. I think you've already mentioned the issue of cost of energy, but the President, His Excellency President William Ruto has already initiated a process to try and understand on a case-by-case these companies that may be going out, what is the issue? Is it something we can be able to solve? And I want to assure this House that as soon as I get the opportunity, I will sit, and even if it means looking for some of them, those who have not completely exited, to see how we can reverse that. But I'm also troubled because it is also true, in recent years, we've had local companies that have also closed, including Mobius, our vehicle manufacturer that would have given us pride and nationalism as we venture out there. So I want to assure this committee, I've already sent word to that company because Kenyans hold this very dear to themselves, and we would want to see some of those things as much as possible, how we can be able to work with them. The unpredictable taxation and policies by government. Again, there is a thinking that every year we have a finance bill, it changes excise duty on something, import duty on another. Yet, this is a company that just came to set in Kenya, has a lifespan of about 10 years before you can return your money, but you cannot do your projections on profitability because it depends on factors way beyond yourself. So the current thinking is to try and come with a tax regime for a minimum of maybe 5 years, so that as you come to invest here, if you are in livestock, if you are in food processing, you can know for the next 5 years, this is what I expect. And stability. stability in the tax regime. And I think this will be a very important card because most of the investors will be citing this as a challenge in terms of, because they have obligations with the banks, but you have no idea what kind of money you will make because it's not entirely in your space. The Honorable Robert also asked me whether I will be returning to Nakuru. I want to confirm that Nakuru is my home and I will always be there. Because if I want to promote Kenya, unless we annex Nakuru, you know, it's part of here and there's a huge industrial base. And I am here also courtesy of the people of Nakuru. If they had not elected me, nobody would have known me. So I would be the last person to say here that among the many goodies I have for Kenya, Nakuru will not be there. But I'll also cooperate with the leaders who are there.
That was not the question. The question was, you served one term as governor. Your eyes could be on another term. Are you going to spend government time as a CS rotating around Nakuru?